Okay, so let's start with introducing ourselves. So I'm Kelsey Aikman. I'm the Vice President of Marketing and Communications for Marble Media, now Blue Ant Media.
Hi, I'm Michelle Melanson, and I'm the President and Executive Producer of Headspinner Productions.
I'm Kat Kelly Hayduck, and I'm the President, Co-founder, Producer at Turtlebox Productions.
And, there we go. I'm Virginia Thompson. I remember who I am. And I'm the president of Verite Films in Toronto.
Great. So we're here to talk about creating trusted brands for kids and youth, our digital strategies, how to build brands, engage audiences, and increase views. Ultimately, how to be successful. So that's the secret sauce. And you're three experienced, well-established independent producers. So why don't we first start by talking about what success means in the independent brand building children's market right now and how you get your content seen. So do you want to start, Michelle?
Sure. Success for me means you get to make it. That's the number one thing for me is right now is we're makers, and anytime we can pull it off and get to make something and put it out into the world, that's a success. Other than measuring true success too, it's getting that feedback, it's seeing your show grow in viewers, and a lot of times when we're online, we can see that through, we have our own Headspinner Kids YouTube channel, as well as being on several other platforms. So being able to see that is success for us. And then, literally when a parent takes the time to write you and say how much they love the show for your family, at the end of the day, that will mean more to you than any other success.
She stole what I was going to say, because we talked about that earlier.
Wow.
No,
wow. Like, we don't talk all day. That's another thing. Can I just say, in this business, you count on each other, and we all talk all the time. Yeah. We talk probably 3 times a day, sharing
I want to talk with them more.
Yeah.
So.
Success looks like you get to play and make your content. I hate the word content, though. And what's great about web series is oftentimes you get to really see your pure creative vision come to life without those pesky executives getting in the way and stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I guess for me, I love making the content, but I'm not really satisfied until I've made an impact with the audience. I feel that that's part of my job, and that's the journey that I always seek. And so I'll work and work and work and work and work and work, and then finally, when you start to see that you're getting traction with the audience, and you're all experiencing the content together, it's incredibly rewarding. So we love building brands. We don't make many shows, and we focus on very few and spend many, many years developing them, and then trying to strategize. It's like this wonderful journey where you're strategizing as to how to get your content out there and the various different forms in which your content can exist. And I think that's great fun as well, is seeing that, the ideas that you create have life and all the different ways that you can do that. And I think that's something that web series in particular really give you that freedom in a way that, classic broadcast television does not.
I was just going to add for sure, because there's something a little bit more passionate behind it. You have to really, really want to do it because it's not lucrative. You have to love it. And so when you find a project, and for me, when I find a project and I love it, that's it. Same thing. I'm on the mission, and it's going to happen, and I'm going to do everything it can for me and my partners to make that happen. So there's a lot of passion behind it. That's success to me too, is getting to make what you want to make, things that you love.
I like to say our job is to be tugboat captains, and
Yeah.
you've got your ships of your projects, and you're just trying to like nudge them into the right port.
So then, and you guys have also all worked with influencers and with books, with IP. So why don't we talk about the brand building piece? Because I know we've had some discussions, even with toy products. So let's talk about like working with influencers and basically how do you build a brand? I know each of you sort of have stories about starting with a fan base with those influencers. So
Yeah, I'm going to touch on a couple, and then I'm going to point out one because she's here today. So you're all going to go shh, and then you're going to join her TikTok. So we have three. One is Dennis. Dennis is a YouTuber gamer out of Vancouver with 10 million followers, billions of views. Makes his living in the multi-million of dollars gaming online. And we happened to see an Instagram post that he made about his dream was to have his own cartoon. So we reached out, and fortunately we're able to put together an incredible series called Dennis and Me, which again just pushed us out into the stratosphere, because you have a guy with 10 million followers doing a live stream saying, I have a new cartoon show, go over here to dennisandme.com, and so we had 1 million views in 2 days. We have almost 400,000 followers on our YouTube, and then it caught the attention of a linear broadcast, and Family Channel came in a big way to support us through 2 more seasons. So it can happen like that. That's obviously what we all try and do. Secondly, we took an really old kids brand, Hilarious House of Frightenstein, which is 50 years old here in Canada. Yeah. And it's amazing. If you don't know it, youngins in the room, check it out on YouTube. But it starred Vincent Price, and it's one of the best things to ever come out of Canada, in my opinion. And we have the rights to that show. And so we tried to do it in live action, shifted to animation, and we have a really sweet show called Happy House of Frightenstein that, again, we're able to make thanks to Ontario Creates and Shaw Rocket Fund. And then, again, Family Junior came in a linear way, like, again, trying to grow it that way. But I do want to talk about Giselle real quickly. Thanks, guys, for your patience. But everyone knows Giselle Corinthius if you grew up in Ontario. She was the star of Giselle's Big Backyard on TV Ontario for many, many years, and many parents trusted their kids to watch it. Hi, Giselle. Sorry to embarrass you. But during the pandemic, I realized I love doers. I love people that are just out there doing their thing. And Giselle started her own YouTube channel and went out there and put out great content for families and started, huge numbers on TikTok. And we're talking just Ontario-based here, right? We're talking she has over 1.5 million likes on TikTok. Like, it's big when you think Ontario. And we reached out to each other. We'd have outdoor coffee sitting outside with our masks and our coffee outdoors, and we did a partnership, because, again, if you have that fan base already, it's already an instant way that at least you're not starting here, you're starting here, and it really, really does help.
Yeah, we've worked with a lot of musicians. We've done a lot of music video content, and that's great because they're always out there performing. And building an audience that way. And then our series in ours bookshelf, we came, actually my partner Cam, came across this remarkable 12-year-old's Instagram account, and she just had so much charisma and such passion for her message of diversity in books. That we reached out to her via DM and put together that project, again, as a full partnership, because we just really wanted to help her get her message out there.
Yeah, and us, it's funny how we come up with projects. I mean, we've worked, of course, in comedy. Corner Gas is our project, and it's been more about kind of, I don't know, creative connections with voices that that really touch me as being authentic, and also that in one way or another, and it can happen in different ways, can have a very positive impact on the public. So I keep on going back to this word, impact. So I don't even know how to describe how we choose projects. They kind of appear in front of us, but so Brent Butt was one of those people. Prior to that, we did a wonderful series called Incredible Stories Studio. This isn't web series, but it's interesting because it's the same process as to what gets me interested. Incredible Stories Studio was about taking exceptional stories written by children, and we put a creative writing program into schools, and we got kids to write stories, and then we dramatized those stories. It's really about being inspired by the human beings that I'm inspired by. So anyway, right now we're doing Jeremy and Jazzy. We're working with a wonderful musician, Jeremy Fisher, and another musician is Anibari Kouré. And again, it was the commitment and the quality of the music that I felt was so exceptional, and the storytelling and the imagination and the purpose of the show, which has a mental health piece. It's about how music can help us deal with the challenges of life and make us feel better. And to me, I just wanted to be there working on something like that because that made me feel good. So it's weird. So these aren't people that have huge Instagram followers or TikTok followers. They're just this kind of a gut instinct, and it's kind of where I want to be in my own, because we have to fight so hard, right? So we all find the whys, right? And I'm sure, and as you've mentioned, these wonderful panelists have mentioned, it's the quality of the people as much as the quality of the project. And if you have the magic of both those things, then magic can happen if you just believe. So yeah.
We sound so like kids producers. If you just believe.
No, I know, but I mean, I've done comedy too. But yeah, it is. It truly is about manifesting. I mean, truly, I believe that because I don't even know why I'm sitting here, except that I just kind of manifest these things and believe that they'll happen.
Yeah.
And then I'm just determined because I love the project so much.
I'm proud Virginia and I went to school together
Yep.
a lot of years ago. We've been in the business a long time now.
Yep.
And I'm proud. I'm sitting here going, wow,
Yeah, we're still here.
We're still here.
I love it. Well, you believe, but you also are amazing at using data. I think each of you have different stories about that and how important data obviously plays today. So why don't we talk about how data has helped you either sell a series. It's probably also helped you maybe make changes creatively. So how have you guys used data, whether it's social, YouTube? You have a great story, yeah.
You're the most of that, I think.
Do I have a great story?
I don't know if it's a story or you've used that. You said the French. Remember the French?
And with Corner Gas, putting out different clips online.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to use Jeremy and Jazzy because that's where my head is right now. It was interesting because we didn't have musicians that were mega stars or big on TikTok or big on Instagram, for example. So we had to start with nothing. But we didn't completely. These were award-winning musicians. These were exceptional talent, but not the following kind of built in. And we had to build the brand around it. So I do believe in brands. I think that they're great because they give the world an impression of what you're doing. And the more you repeat that, the more people just visually get to know you. So we always start with the brand. And then with Jeremy and Jazzy, we got some funding to do our first digital series. And we thought the best way to go was 11 minutes. We were able to make a couple. And then I learned that our stars, and I mean, this is me being too dreamy, is I think, I can finance an 11-minute animated series. No, I can't. It's impossible. And the pandemic hit and all these things. And so, but I'm working with these incredible musicians, and one is an incredible songwriter. And so I turned to Jeremy and I literally, what's the path? I bumped into three Asian broadcasters at Content Canada right before the pandemic hit. And I said, how much content do you need to build a brand? And they said 110 minutes. And I know that Jeremy and Jazzy makes 2-minute songs. So that means I've got to make 55 minutes of content to build a brand. So I went, right, all right, that's how I'm going to do this. So the 11-minute idea wasn't great. Let's flip it.
Yeah.
Let's go to 2 minutes. But let's make sure that everything that we put into those 11 minutes, the stories, the heart, the reason, the raison d'être that we're actually doing this, is in that 2-minute piece. Don't give up on your dreams ever, ever. That's what gets you across the line. And so we did that, and then I held it back. I didn't want to get it out too fast because I had to get all that content lined up. Because I didn't have a brand, and I didn't have TikTok, and I didn't have all these things that could tell the world. And then we launched Jeremy and Jazzy a year ago. And we did do wonderful concerts on the pandemic, and we did this and that, and it was great. But we basically launched from scratch, and I'm excited because we seeded advertising a little bit, just a little bit, and we were quite targeted in that way, but we didn't have very much money, never very much money, but focused. And sure enough, we have over 3.3 million views on the YouTube channel, and we've only launched 50% of the content. And now our organic views are at 15 to 20,000 a day, and they're growing and growing and growing. So interesting, but could I, just as far as building brands or, I don't know, data, that kind of stuff, is we were watching it, and everything, when we launched Corner Gas in the United States, again, this was a situation where I also used digital and data. The brand was being undervalued by American buyers. We dropped it on Amazon Prime Video Direct. We did a small advertising spend. We chased the Seinfeld audience. Why Seinfeld? Because Americans describe Corner Gas as Canada's Seinfeld. So I thought, okay, if Americans are describing us in that way, then I'm going to listen. So we listened to the audience. And with a small ad spend, and looking at the data, it was like, and then we could see every day. You can see it on YouTube, you can see it on Instagram, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. We could see how it grew and grew and grew. And instead of going, oh, we're so happy, we go, well, at least with Amazon Prime Video Direct, we were able to recoup our advertising revenue, and then we'd reinvest. And then line would go up, and then we would put it in, reinvest, and it was like a hockey stick. Whoa, 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 whoa. Just like in Canada, by the way. The world isn't different than Canada. Like, if you can find a following in Canada, you can find a following in the world. You just have to reach them. So yes, data's been very helpful to us. Mm-hmm. And now and you're always risking and you're always trying new things. We never do the same thing all the time. But we're watching the data all the time. Like, I watch the channels all the time.
It is a little tricky for you that may not understand, but we can't have comments on or advertise in certain ways in kids.
Yeah.
So we're at a disadvantage there in terms of that, but you can still see it. It still can tell you a lot of information. And we're in the same situation. We just launched Head Splitter Kids in March based off of Giselle's Mashup channel. And we're seeing it too. It was exciting. I was actually asking Virginia and learning from her today because we're kind of following the same model. And I'm proud too. We're over 800. We're going to hit 1 million by year's end. And
you'll see it pick up.
Yeah. And when you hear the truth about what's happening in kids TV in Canada right now in linear television, kids are not watching. We know that. We know they're on YouTube. We know they're other places. So when we're hearing that linear broadcasters aren't even getting 1,000 views on the channel, and we know I'm getting 6,000 views a day, I feel pretty proud of that, right? Like when and so you have to be real about that data and be proud of that. It doesn't seem like a lot, and you certainly aren't earning. Dennis and me, we have 31 million views. We've probably made $6,000, right, off of YouTube. That's. I'm being very honest. That's what it is in kids, right? So I think everybody thinks we can make a living off of that. 400,000 subscribers, and Dennis is over here. Honest to God, the 25-year-old kid owns 2 homes in Vancouver and makes $5 million, but he's not a kids channel. He's a gaming channel. And that's the difference, right?
Yeah.
But it does, you can actually see your data and you can break it all down. And, I wish we could somehow have, in a safe way, people being able to give you feedback on your content, even if it was parents, because I'd love to hear what they're, but you can see what their favorites are. You can actually see when they leave too, if they're not. And for us, music videos outperform everything in kids.
One thing is to sort of chase your audience as well, which you talked about, the Seinfeld thing. So with Anara's bookshelf, for example, we heard anecdotally that it was being used a lot in classrooms by teachers. And so we're looking to leverage that, like taking ads out in Teach magazines, also, we're looking to create a book club, if we get all our funding, and the book club will be tied into curriculum, and then looking for platforms that are educational that will take the show as well, because we think it's a great tool for teachers.
Yeah, so I think we've touched on, even through the data talk, some of the marketing tactics that you use, but why don't we grow on those? Like when you're building your brand and your plan for your brand, you obviously have to think of the strategy of marketing. So what other tools do you think are like worth the investment and that you've actually seen as help improve your awareness, views? So what are some of the marketing tactics?
Well, for us who work in kids, especially in preschool, we want to make something really engaging for preschoolers, but we know the gatekeepers are parents, guardians, educators, daycares, all of that. So that's who we're really going after. So we kind of have to be everywhere they're at. And I think one of the biggest marketing strategies we're making as a company at Headspinner is we've made the decision to buy into fast channels in the US and actually start our own channels. So our next announcement soon is going to be that Auntie B's House, one of our shows, and all of our short content on Headspinner Kids will be available on 300 platforms in the US, because we have actually made that investment into that. Because you want to be everywhere that a kid could possibly be. It used to be exclusivity. It used to be the golden mirror for us was getting on Nickelodeon or Disney, and we knew if we got onto Nickelodeon or Disney in 2 years, if we had good numbers, we could have a toy line. That was the goal in children's television. Now they're everywhere. Kids are everywhere, and you kind of have to be everywhere. And that's linear, that's fast channels, that's online, we've been very fortunate at Headspinner and working with even some of our linear partners that have allowed us non-exclusive. Giselle's Mashup Adventures is on CBC Gem and CBC Linear, and it's on Headspinner Kids YouTube because I was allowed to have non-exclusive, and now I'm putting it on 300 platforms through the US. So these are the strategies, being everywhere, and then on the other side, like Kat said, reaching out to educators. Social media is a big one for us. TikTok, we don't do X or Twitter at all, just for political reasons, and for family safe reasons. Facebook is still a way to reach moms. It's still a way to guide them. And then for us too, trade magazines are important because we're still trying to sell out our content throughout the world. So we're still, for us, it's Kids Green Magazine, TV Kids, festivals like this, awards like this, anything we can be doing to like chirp our little, toot our horn and chirp chirp anytime we can.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say again. But no.
Every time. Come on, Kat, get your own thoughts. It's okay.
No, what I was going to say is just like in every industry and in life in general, everything is about relationships and relationship building. So we haven't had, like Turtlebox hasn't had that big mega hit in the kids space, but we know we're respected by the quality of the work we do, and we're building those relationships and knocking on those doors. And people answer those doors now, right? And I think that's a huge part of it, is knowing what a show is going to be from our company when we're looking at who our partners are, and that they can trust us.
Yeah, it's interesting. I always feel that when I start a new project, I have to start from the ground up. And so, and I really want this audience to think about that. Because yes, we have had success for sure, but I'm feeling like I'm always starting anew. So I went from comedy, I was in children's, then I went to comedy, did a feature, you know, and then I'm back into preschool and animation, and that's completely different than the gang in, you know, the comedy space. So I really understand what you're saying. I mean, yes, I have a reputation, but there's so much competition, and, you know, so quality is a really important piece. Making sure that you can make something that is truly original, because if you're like anybody else, good luck, right? I find the secret sauce for me, because it takes so much work and so much passion, is that it's got to be original. So I encourage you to spend the time when you're developing projects to create that original thing, because that will help you cut through over time. And it does take time. I mean, we've been at Jeremy and Jazzy now for 5 years. But as far as building a brand, I was thinking about the brand from the very beginning during development. So we knew that Jeremy and Jazzy had a very strong mental health piece. So we've been building that from, you know, Jeremy and Jazzy Learn. Jeremy and Jazzy can also help kids learn how to read through music. So when we were in the design phase, I was always thinking publishing. So if you look at the animation, it's got kind of a hand-drawn feel. And it does. When we finally got our publisher, when they saw the show, they were like, "Oh my, this could be a book." Well, yeah.
Who is your publisher, by the way?
Mango.
Oh, Mango, yes. Okay.
Mango
Yeah,
Publishing
okay.
in the United States, in Miami.
We're all trying to get publishing.
Yeah, and I have worked. I have worked with Canadian publishers, and they're wonderful. But it's hard, and I got a tip. So that's where networking helps. I called some good friends that I've known for years at Sinking Ship. I said, I really want to build this brand, and I want a book, and I need a publisher that's going to be nimble and that's going to help me build this brand. And they introduced me to Mango, and that was great. It was a completely different deal than a Canadian deal. A lot of it is based on the fact that we're brand building. We're the ones that are building the web series, and we're building all of the channels associated with it. And now we're getting into live tours. So if anybody has families, come to the Toronto International Authors Festival on Saturday. Jeremy and Jazzy are performing and opening up the Kids Festival at the Toronto Authors Festival down at Harbourfront at 11 o'clock. Free. It's free.
That's great.
It's free.
Yeah,
So
in
bring your
kids, like the touring, the books, the toys.
Education.
Education. We're doing podcasts now.
Yeah.
And even when you create your content for YouTube, you can't think of it as I'm making 10 pieces of animated content. Out of every 10 pieces of animated content we made for Giselle's, for example, we actually have 40 pieces of content. So we have 20 additional live action pieces of content. Plus now we have picture-in-picture ASL on all our projects now too. We have a deal with a place in the US. So that became another 10 pieces of content because
That's right.
you're doing exactly what Virginia is saying is you constantly have to keep putting out content.
Yeah, and you think about different ways of reusing your content in really innovative ways, because you have this beautiful content and you have these wonderful people that are behind the content. And people are fascinated by what we do. So you can do behind the scenes content. You can do, we do all this, behind the microphone. We've got Asa and Jeremy, and they sing their songs, and we, split screen with the animation so you can actually see the wonderful artist that's singing, and then you see the animated characters. And so this is all very clever ways of just make sure you shoot it cleanly, simply, but that it looks good. Just a nice lighting. It's one light. Well,
Sadly,
you know,
that's for us. Unfortunately, kids don't give a care.
no,
When
but
you
maybe
see some of
parents
the
do.
billions of views on stuff, and it's like you can't even see them and you can't hear them, but somehow it's worth a billion views.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I wish. No, we have to fight for everyone.
So I think we're almost out of time. So final question, what's one tip or lesson that you've learned in web series making?
I think leveraging the funding that's available. It's pretty remarkable how much money is out there if you work really
Tell
hard.
them that, Kat. They're all going to come for it.
If you work really hard at the financing applications, they're tough, but it should be hard to put together a decent budget to do stuff. And I think sometimes you can almost reverse engineer for a fund. Like we have had moments where it's like, oh, the slate fund's due. What do we have right now? You know, and you can kind of like pull on some threads that may have just been a small inkling and turn it into a project. Yeah.
My tip is, and even as a television producer, this has always been my tip, the right people for the right project. I never look at anything as one size fits all. I always look at who can get excited about this particular project, who are the right people for this project, whether that's your writers, your talent, or whatever, so that it feels original and it feels like nobody else could make it but this group of people, and that they're all invested in it like a big family. And that's when we make the best stuff. And in web series and this kind of thing that you're doing, it's a small team. So everybody has to be able to put that passionate time and energy into it, and some of us have to wear 10 hats, and that's okay because everybody's in it and they're all about it. So small team, keep it small so that everybody can be paid a little bit, and keep that team passionate.
You're right. Because that's how we're doing. It's a very small team. I mean, we have a larger animation team, but the team that actually drives the brand, the cut downs, all the additional, because you can make a web series, but that's not just, then you take your web series and you make something of your web series, and that's how you build your content so that you have more and more and more content. You look at it in different ways and go, how can we deliver a world to the viewer? And we did the same thing with Corner Gas in different ways. It was, but yeah, so look at your content and figure out all the fun things you can do with it. And to your point, small team, committed team, so that you can maximize. And I'd leave you with every project that I've ever made is a long journey. And I never know how long I'll be on the path. So I have to do quite a bit of work to take care of myself and make sure that I stay centered and that I feel good about what I'm doing. And because sometimes you kind of wake up and you might go, oh my goodness, I think I'm crazy. Why am I doing this? So if you feel that way at any time, you're not alone. We all feel that way. But yeah, so just, but if you know, I think that part of it is the project will start to speak to you, and it will tell you if you're on the right path or if you need to walk away, right? The project will do that. But if it's constantly calling you, which is what happens with the projects that I really stick with, then I just carry on the road and I don't give up. And I think that's part of it. I think that's kind of the magic. It's just not giving up. Lots of people kind of get afraid, and I don't blame them. I've been afraid too, but I just keep on going.
I was at an event once, and the speaker said, "Who likes getting a no?" And I was the only person to hold up my hand, because I don't mind. I hate not knowing. When I get a no, I can then pivot and figure out what's next.
Oh, it's a relief. No's. I've been so many people. I can't even count how many no's I've had.
I don't like those.
All through, and it's no big deal. It's like, hey, if it's not for you, that's okay. Just keep it. That's what I mean about the journey. It's this weird path where it's like, oh, that person said no. Oh well, keep on going, right? And then somebody else will say, and I also share my problems with people, like at conferences. People are very generous. I don't feel that we are competitors in this room. I hope you don't look at this panel and go, gosh, they're going to get the lion's share. Because I think that there's a lot of work that the industry does to make sure that that they're taking a very balanced approach.
There's room for
There's
everybody.
a lot of room. There's a lot. I'm also I'm the board chair of the National Screen Institute. We're all about underrepresented voices, new voices, getting new people in the industry. There is such a desire, and it's new, because I can tell you, new voices weren't very popular, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. But now they are. Thank goodness, because it's far too late, but that's okay. That's where we are. But just know that we're a community, and everybody wants to help everybody, because, the journey is different for all of us. And so we can help each other, and we can because everyone will go through a different path. Yeah.
Well, I think we've run out of time, but thank you so much. Amazing insights. I hope you guys have learned something. I don't think that we have time for questions, but I think.
It's my buddy from the screening. Yoo-hoo!
Oh, run. Here. Here, hot potato.
I wanted to know, because you'd mentioned Giselle being an Ontario brand, but we're from Quebec, and I grew up watching her too.
Woohoo! Giselle.
And so, I was curious where your audiences are, because you're on a platform like YouTube that
Yeah.
is international.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're 80% American. But at the end of the day, when you look at numbers and you look at population, it kind of works out. So second is Canada, big in the Philippines. Philippines loves Canadian content, and always had. I see that across, even on Dennis's channel too, like when I could see his analytics. So Canada always usually comes in second on our Canadian brands, but the US is always our biggest viewer. Yeah, it is nice to be able to see that. And it does go along gender lines and things like that as well too. So it is helpful in that way. But yeah, Giselle's content is just great, and she's a great, it's just, we're trying to push that out, but we started with this great opportunity to have, people especially who grew up with her that are now having children. It gave us that little bit of a boost. Sorry, Giselle. And grandchildren and great-grandchildren.
Through the
I have
generations.
lots of friends with grandkids.
Stand up, Giselle.
Giselle. You're not embarrassed. You love every bit of this. This is going to be a TikTok later. What have you been doing with she usually has her phone out with TikTok. She's usually doing stuff. But thank goodness, because again, just a little quick thing too about your partners, right? So we got to know each other. We were helping each other. She was asking my advice about her show, but then I loved her ambition, right? And that gets me excited now. Okay, you're someone I want to partner with. You're someone who's going to be in it with me. And we're 50-50 partners on that show, right? We're in it together. And so we both put a heck of a lot of work into the show. We don't have a big team whatsoever. And then I'm really proud we did some other really terrific diversity initiatives with the show too, that we were able to bring other people in too. So it's you have to have the right partner.
Well, I think that's a beautiful idea and sentiment to end off this panel, because we do have to move to the next one. I'm sorry. But thank you so much. Another round of applause.